Well, we are live. Hi there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode or live episode of Prestige Liquids WW. Man, I cannot even begin to remember how long it has been since I have last done a live video. I think it has to be damn well over a year. It has been a long, long time since I have done a live stream. I've got the shakes, I've got the nerves going, and yeah, like it's all it's all good happy feelings at the moment. So um I don't really have any intention as such for this to be a long video. I mean, if it turns out to be a long video, awesome. That would be great. Um, but otherwise, this is, I guess, just something that I've been wanting to do, just to kind of get back into the flow of doing live streams. I mean, like I said, it has been so long since I have done my own live streams. Yes, I have jumped in on other people's live videos in the past, but it has been quite a while since I have done my own. So, um, yeah, I said let's get into this. Let's say if anybody joins in, cool. If not, whatever. I'm here just to, I guess, talk about this whiskey that I received today, and let's show you. So today I am going to be doing a live, I guess, opening and live review of the latest Starwood Octave barrels. This is the latest release from Starwood. Um, yeah, really today I didn't really have any intention of doing a live stream today, except for the fact that this actually just turned up on the doorstep today, and I have to give a massive shout out to Starwood. And these guys down there have got their shit together um, when it comes to sending out deliveries. I swear, I feel like I only ordered this about 3 days ago, and it's already arrived at the doorstep. So um, I'm just going to be doing like an initial review of this, kind of unofficial, and then later on, I guess once I have started to get through a bit of the bottle and gotten past the neck pour, I'll do a proper review of this bottle. So this is just something to kind of have a little bit of fun with, and yeah, just to get going and have something to do on my Friday night off. So let's start by opening this up. Here we go. This doesn't want to come off. There we go. Ready for the bottle pop? There we go. Oh, it's smelling promising already. All right, let's get the glass ready and pour some in. We can do a bit more than that. Oh, we got somebody new in the video, Simon Delvecchia. Mate, it's nice to have you in on the chat. It's nice to see new faces. I hope you enjoy the video, and again, thank you for joining in. So just obviously, so you know, I'm going to be doing a review of the Starwood Octave barrels. So, all right, let's start off with a little bit of information that I've ripped off of the internet. So obviously, as you know, this is I guess the latest release from Starwood. It is the Starwood Octave barrels. It comes in at a ABV of 48%. Filled in 2000, also the casks themselves were filled in 2018 and then bottled sometime this year. So we're probably playing at about maybe a 2.5 year age for this whiskey, as most Starwoods go. I mean, they're all they're all an NAS, and most of them do hover around pretty much just over 2 years of age. So this has been matured in Shiraz casks, and these casks have actually come from the Yalumba winery in the Barossa Valley. So these casks apparently, and now that I've gotten this, I really do want to try it, have come from what is called the, I guess, the Octavius range of Yalumba. So a little bit of background information. So Yalumba is a very large and, I guess, well-known winery in Australia, and they have produced this Shiraz, and apparently it is quite well known. It is, I guess, won how many awards and things like that. And Starwood have been able to, I guess, get their hands on a barrel or two of these casks that previously held this Octavius release. So apparently, so again, a little bit more information that I had gotten off the Starwood site. So the Octavius is made by using some of the world's oldest Shiraz vines, and this is one thing that you may not really know about Australia and its wine like producing abilities, but Australia actually has the oldest, I guess, and most consistent line of vintage when it comes to, I guess, to certain wineries. Now, unfortunately, I don't know exactly which winery this comes from, but there was one of our wineries that we had where they have the most complete vintage year by year of wine releases than any other country in the world. And this has mostly come down to the fact that, one, Australia is so far away from everybody else. We haven't been affected by wars, and that has played I guess, a big impact when it comes to wine production in other countries, especially in Europe. And we also haven't suffered like a lot of the, I guess, the plagues that have ravished a lot of the vineyards in Europe and in other countries around the world. So that's, I guess, a little bit of maybe useless trivia for you. Um, Also, the Yalumba winery itself is also one of Australia's oldest family-owned vineyards. The cask that was used for this release is actually made by Yalumba's own cooperage. I believe they are, I guess, one of very few, or one of Australia's only wineries that actually have their own that have their own cooperage attached to the, I guess, to their vineyard, whereas a lot of other places will be sourcing barrels from other cooperages. Um, what else? So I think I might have mentioned this already, but the Barossa Valley, where Yalumba is from, is actually a South Australian wine region. Now, Starwood comes from Victoria, so they kind of share borders with each other. And I guess with the Starwood distillery, they have been able to, I guess, to build up this rapport with Yalumba. And I have this one quote here coming from David Vitale, the founder of Starwood, and he has said, "We matured one of our first batches of Starwood almost exclusively in Yalumba's red wine barrels. These guys are the only winery in the Southern Hemisphere with their own on-site cooperage." So there you go. Not only just Australia, but in the Southern Hemisphere. I mean, to a certain degree, yes, that does sound very impressive. But then when you also look at a world globe, there's not really many countries besides Australia, New Zealand, and I think like some other um, like South American countries that actually fall into the Southern Hemisphere. But hey, we're gonna take that. That is a pretty damn big achievement. So moving along. Yeah, so they have their own on-site cooperage. They were generous enough to share their barrel expertise with me back in the day, and they've been trusted. They've been a trusted Starwood partner ever since. Now, I believe that Starwood predominantly uses, I think, a lot of Shiraz, and I think maybe even Pinot Noir casks. And I'm guessing with this relationship that they have been able to build up over time, Yalumba must be, I guess, one of those wineries that they have just had a lot of dealings with. Information has been swapped back and forth. And when you have a history of dealing with casks and aging, and definitely aging products in those casks, I mean, there's some expertise and some brilliant knowledge that you can gain by working hand in hand with not only the people running the vineyard, but also the people that run the cooperage. They all these people have a wealth of knowledge, and you can tell that. I mean, I'm a Starwood fan in general, and those say that type of expertise, you have to take it. You have to learn from the sources and the people that you have around you. So I'm gonna stop there. I'm just blabbering on way too much. I'm just way too excited to be doing a live stream. I've just noticed that I've got this other comment coming in from Simon saying pretty expensive Shiraz as well, about 150 a bottle. Damn. I was really wanting to grab a bottle of this, but I think I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer and I think save up a bit of money. I don't know about you, Simon, but I've always been one of those people where I can kind of justify spending, say, that kind of money when it comes to a bottle of whiskey, because at least with whiskey, you can pop the cork, you can let it sit on the shelf for years and years and years on end, and as long as you're storing it correctly, it's going to be fine. Nothing is really going to happen to it. But with a bottle of wine, once you open it, then you've got to get into it, and you have to drink it pretty quickly. It's not really something that you can just let just to leave it and have it set aside. All right, I think now it's time to get on with this. Now I'm very excited to be able to try this. I've got the my glass sitting there on the side, and now I'm trying to decide, or not so much trying to decide, but I'm just wanting to find out, is this whiskey going to be as good as this? This is the Starwood Bourbon Cask. This is one of the first projects releases that have come from Starwood, and this for a long time has been one of my favorite whiskeys. This has been an epiphany whiskey for me. This whiskey, it has opened up my understanding, and my overall tasting experience has been broadened so much because of this whiskey. So I'll say, depending on how I go, I mean, look, I've got a little bit left in here, and I may even finish this off on this video. So we'll see how we'll see how we go. So I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy it as much as that. I'm hoping that I don't hate it as much as this. If any of you have tried this before, oh, this is easily the worst whiskey that I have ever tried, and I'm really am hoping that it is nothing like this at all. So yeah, let's start to move along. Okay, sorry, let's just have a quick look at the chat. Oh, wow. Oh, we've got Vin in the group. Joe Muck has turned up as well. Wow, this is I really did not have any expectation to have anybody come in and even watch this, to be honest. Like I said, it's been that long. I'm thinking, who the hell is going to want to watch this guy? But hey, there you go. I've got 3 people coming in and watching so far. Guys, if any of you want to join me in the chat, I have a link in the description box for this video. So if you like, please go ahead and yeah, click that link, join me in the video. Vin, I know you've been trying a few Starwoods lately, so if you're able to and you want to discuss Starwood with me, then come and join me in the video. It'll be great to have you here. So, moving along, let's start getting into this. But I think before I do, let's get on with a little bit of water first. Oh, that's all right, Vid, mate. Work can wait. Mate, come and join me and have some fun, man. That's what we're all here for. So, it is honestly just fantastic to have you here in the chat. So, cheers. Oh man, wow. This is a very different nose for a Starwood whiskey. Now, I say different, but at the same time, it's familiar. You know that this is a Starwood. So one of the first few notes that I'm getting at the moment is your typical banana note. Now, I don't know if any of you that have tried Starwood in the past have gotten this, but I know for me, I have always gotten a strong banana note, especially on the nose when it comes to Starwood whiskies. And it is very much like those, well, actually, more so for this one. Normally, I actually kind of get more of like a fresh banana on a Starwood. This one is more along the lines of like those banana musk like candies. I don't know if any of you have tried anything like that before, but that's what it is. It's got like a musk, like a candy musk type of thing going on. Tons of vanilla, and then it is bursting with fruits. The nose, I wouldn't say that it's typical of a Shiraz, but I don't know. Maybe as it starts to open up, and like I said, this is the neck pour as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this changes. I mean, it is already opening up beautifully. Really, it is. Now, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I know a lot of people do generally say not to judge a whiskey by the neck pour. I'm one of those ones who say when it comes to my whiskeys and neck pours, it's like when I'm looking at a new book. I judge the book by its cover. I know so many people as well say that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but hey, I'm one of those people that do that all the time, and I am one of those. I don't I don't know. Maybe anybody that's watching at the moment, drop me a comment down below. Is a person that enjoys the neck pour a rarity, or is it just something that's very common? I genuinely love the neck pour of a whiskey. I really have not had any bad experiences. In fact, I love experiencing the way the whiskey evolves from the time that you pour it, as it opens up into the glass, and then as you progress through the bottle. So I've got some more comments coming in at the moment from Vin. What have we got here? So I'm very limited in my Starwood knowledge. The 2 New World projects one was the best I've had so far. Unfortunately, I don't think I've been able to have that one. I think that one may have been a UK release. I know that Greg from Greg's Whiskey Guide, he was able to get like a New World Projects release in France as well, and that may be, I guess, the same or similar to the one that you have there, Vin. Um, I remember at first for him as well, he struggled with that whiskey, and then as he let it open up, he loved it, and he actually rated it extremely high. Now you're saying with the neck pour, I'm happy to judge if it's amazing right from the right from the get go. Yeah, but I'm exactly the same. I mean, I just love the neck pour. I don't discriminate the neck pour. And then yeah, like you're saying, if it's bad on the neck pour, I will give it more chances. Now, I haven't forgotten about that yet, but coming back to this now, like I said, it is for me. It is horrible. The worst whiskey that I've had. When I first opened the bottle, let me just open this up for you guys so you can see. Sorry to go on a tangent. I've already had that much of it. When I first opened this, I knew straight away. I'm thinking, oh shit, what have I gotten myself into? This is absolutely horrible. Just the aroma that erupted from the bottle was horrendous. I I I then went to pour a glass, which still had a little bit of the damn, what was one of the last videos that I did? The man, my memory has gone really bad. Let's see, where is it? The Oh man, I'm blanking at the moment. I can't even think. But anyhow, sorry, the Glen Grant 10-year-old. That's what it was. Bloody hell. The Glen Grant 10, which was absolutely amazing, and I still had a little bit of left in the glass. I got lazy. I poured that into it, and at first I thought maybe that's why it was that bad. Well, it turns out that wasn't the fact. I finished that pour, rinsed out the glass, poured again, and it was horrible. I have then went on to have one of my cousins try it as well, and even he was wondering after the way that I described it, was thinking, "Oh man, it can't be that bad." And I said, "Yeah, don't worry, you try it, and then let me tell you what you think." He knows that initially he thought it was okay. I said, "Don't worry, give it time." And then as he tried it again, he said, "Man, it's not that bad." I said, it could be worse." I said, "Trust me, give it the next sip." So he did. He had the next sip, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, mate, this shit is crap." and but the long-winded point that I'm trying to make here as well, again, is judging by the neck pour. This is a whiskey that I have labeled as the worst whiskey that I've ever had. It is one of the worst whiskeys I've ever smelt. But even from this point on, as I've come back to it, it is becoming more approachable. It's not to say that it's becoming more enjoyable. That's not, it is still just as horrible as what it was from the neck pour, but there's things going on in the bottle. It is changing and it is mellowing out. So I am, as scared as I am to make my way through this, I am also curious to see what type of adventure it's going to take me on. Um, whether this is as bad as I can't remember the name of it, but the Japanese whiskey that Vin had, I don't know, but I'm sure, excuse me, that it comes in close. Okay, so another comment coming from Simon saying, "I wonder how this would compare to the Nova. They are both red wine matured and Shiraz, wondering if the quality of the wine they had in the barrel will change the flavor." And that is a very interesting point, and unfortunately, I don't have a bottle of Nova available. I finished it off a while ago, and it is one of those ones that I need to get back. And it is definitely one that I would love to have been able to explore side by side. Now, actually, what I might do, unfortunately, I don't have a spare glass, but right here, I do have a bottle of the Fortis Batch One. Obviously, this is American oak and has also been aged in red wine barrels at a higher ABV. Though this is 50%, and the Octave barrels is at 48. But let's see if I can get a bit of a judgment just from the bottle itself and see if there's any similarity on the nose. Oh, that actually, it's like aftershave. So let's see. Now, these are two completely different beasts altogether. This has all the influence of the American oak. Now, I'm not too sure what oak they've used for this, but considering that it's a Shiraz cask, I'm going to and it being an Australian wine, I am going to assume that it is at least French oak. A lot of our wineries that we have generally use French oak. So on this, on the Octave barrels, I am getting more of a peppery, spicy note, which again is more characteristic of a French oak or European oak cask influence. Where on this, it's more rye forward. I am actually picking up quite a bit of a rye note, more vanilla and caramel. Whereas this one does have the vanilla and the caramel, but it is nowhere near as prominent as what it is on the Fortis. Now, I wish I had another glass at hand, but this definitely does have more of the American oak influence coming through on it than, say, the Octave barrels. So I better cap this off before I drop that. And we'll get back to this. So, Joe, you're saying I really enjoyed the oak barrels virtual tasting of on the new Ben Riach. Really enjoyed the Smoky 10. Unfortunately, I missed that. But some of the tasting um, that that team at the Oak Barrel do are absolutely fantastic. Actually, Vin, while I remember, if you're still in the chat, if you are interested in discovering more Australian whiskies and being able to gain a lot more information than what I'm able to provide, definitely check out the Oak Barrel channel. Um, they are a liquor store that's actually based in Sydney, and the contacts and the wealth of knowledge that they have when it comes to discussing whiskey and especially Australian whiskey is second to none. They are fantastic and they are awesome to watch. I reckon you'll have a really good time watching that channel. So go and check out the Oak Barrel. Yep, it's the Oak Barrel. I'll say if I remember, I'll put a link in the description afterwards, or I'll even send it to you in a private chat. So, another. Look, this is fantastic. It's the first time for a long time I'm seeing new faces come up. Lilith Morgan, welcome to the chat. At the moment, you haven't really missed too much. I've just been on a very long-winded rant currently at the moment about, or previously about neck pause. I did start discussing the nosing notes on the octaves, the Starwood octave barrels. So if you have not seen it, that's what it looks like right there. There's actually some very beautiful presentation from Starwood on this release. It really is beautiful. So yeah, let's get back onto the tasting. Let's see what we get. So again, I mentioned that candied musk banana notes, vanilla, caramel. Now, the oak influence coming through is quite interesting, and this isn't something that I've really picked up from other Starwood releases. Normally, the way I would describe the oak influence on the other Starwood releases is kind of like a dry oak. This one noses more like a wet wood. So it has a bit of a papery cardboard, kind of like a mustiness to it. I'm getting little bursts of pepper that come through. Now, again, like I said before, I am not sure what type of oak that they've used in this. I'm assuming that it's French oak, but again, I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not going to say for certain that it is. But instead of like a white pepper note, I am getting more of a black pepper. Think of like black peppercorns, especially kind of like when you've just like cracked the grinder and you just get those bursts of like a pepper aroma. It's very fruity, so you also expect a typical orchard fruit note. So apples, pears. Let's see what else. There's a bit of a citric note coming in as well. It's like a very light lemon. and normally when I get citric notes, I generally get more of the rind. This is more along the lines of the actual flesh of the lemon. So it's got this kind of like strange, sweet, sour note that's coming through. Now, I've had this open now for about half an hour, pretty much from the time that I've started the video, and already as it's sitting in the glass, it's it's just opening up nicely. It really is. Now I'm starting to get a bit of a herbaceous note to it. So a little bit of mint, also like a dry basil, and this again, I'm very happy. These are notes that I have generally not pulled from a whiskey before. Yes, normally mint and rye type of notes come up, especially when it comes to bourbons or a very dominant American oak cask. But I have never had anything like a basil note come up before. Yep, you're definitely right, Vin. It's great to see that algorithm joining in, or not so much joining in, but having it do what it's meant to do. And Lilith, thank you for subbing to the channel. I really do appreciate the support. So cheers. Now the malt is starting to come through. It's very much like a cereal grain note. So for those of you who are in Australia, think something along the lines of like the Kellogg's Nutri-Grain. So it's like a real Iron Man whiskey. Bit of cornflake going on as well. And it is also a little bit nutty as well. So think of things like peanuts, a little bit of almond, dare I say a touch of pine nut as well. Yeah, there it really is. It's opening up really well, and there's a lot going on. I can't take this anymore. I usually don't go taking this long to get into the tasting of a whiskey. I generally, especially when I just buy one, I don't I don't know about the rest of you, but when I get a brand new whiskey, I generally don't like to pour it into my typical nosing glass. I am usually more comfortable with a typical like tumbler or like rock style glass. They are generally my favorite types of glass to use when it comes to drinking whiskey. So even when I buy a new whiskey, I don't want to be really overwhelmed so much. I just want to be able to sit and enjoy it and just experience it for what it is. And then when I when I get into it and when I go to do a review, or if I really want to start exploring it, then I'll pour it into say like my tulip glass, or like any like style of glass that I will use for tasting. And then I'll really start to dive into the whiskey. But uh, on the initial pour, or even when I'm just casually enjoying a whiskey, um, that's how I like to enjoy my whiskey, just in a basic rocks or tumbler glass. So that's it. We're gonna go in for it. Or wait, let's hold on. Let's talk about the color. Now, as far as I know, Starwood do not use coloring in their whiskies, and again, as far as I know, I have not heard of a single Australian distillery that does use coloring. I am sure there is probably a couple out there, but majority of the craft distilleries do not use any coloring when it comes to their whiskies. Um, Chill filtration, again, not too sure. This is bottled at 48%, so there is a chance that it could be. Um, but it may not. So let's get on with the tasting. It is spicy as all hell and very dry. It's I was not expecting that. Being at a 48%, it can go either way. Sometimes you can get a whiskey at 48% that is quite mellow and soft, and then you'll get one where it just punches above its grade. And at the moment, again, coming off the neck pour, so that could also be what's going on here. This is punching at about the 50 to 52% ABV range. Lilith, this has been bottled at 48% ABV. So very interesting. Now, this is my first whiskey of the day, and the second sip, mellow as all hell. So that the initial the initial sip, spicy, prickly, intense, and then the second sip, softer, more gentle. Dare I say, even elegant. Um, that might be pushing the boundary a little bit more. We'll scrap elegant. It's not an elegant whiskey, but it does have a gentleness to it. Vin, you're asking, are there any mass produced Australian whiskies yet? Like really big volumes? Like when it comes to, we do have some, but when it comes to mass produced whiskies, at the moment, Starwood is pretty much one of them. So when you think of the Nova or Solera, uh, definitely a mass produced whiskey. But again, from what I've read, and to be honest, I haven't read a lot, but I still don't think that they use any coloring in those releases. Archie Rose is also another distillery that's catching up, and they may have even bypassed Starwood now in terms of like output and production. But again, even they do not use any coloring in their core range. Now, we do have more other budget blends, such as we have one that's called the Ned, which is actually named after Ned Kelly, and there are a couple of other ones. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten around to trying them yet, but I will get there eventually. They may very well use coloring, but again, I have not done any research into it and I'm not 100% sure. So I am not going to say that they do or they don't. So once I try them, then I'll try and do a bit more research. Lilith, you're saying so like the Fortis. No, this is, or I shouldn't say no. Yes, you are right in the fact that yes, the Fortis has that intensity to it, but the flavor profile of this is completely different to the Fortis. At least just going off by the nose alone. Maybe once I finish this, I might even pour a little bit of the Fortis and just try and do a comparison. But from what I remember, no, this is completely different. The Fortis to me had more of a minty rye note to it. So again, more of the American oak influence coming through. Unfortunately, I don't know um, where they've sourced those casks from. But again, I would not say that the flavor profile of this is similar to the Fortis. It is completely different. Um, so Vin, you're saying that you have the Fortis, yes, and I'm looking forward to seeing your review on that. And you're not 100% sold in it, and that's perfectly fine. There are a lot of people, even here in Australia, that have had a a mixed reaction to it. There are those that have really loved it, and then again, there are those that have been like, it's okay. I would rather stick with the Nova or the Solera, or even the twofold, the three main say the three main core range whiskies of Starwood, even though Fortis now is also part of the core range. But the initial three, like I said, the Nova, the Solera, and the Twofold, are generally more popular than the Fortis and a bit more affordable as well. Yep, Lilith, like you as well. I've also been wanting to revisit the Fortis. I think when I first reviewed it, I reviewed it off a neck pour, and I have been meaning to come back to it, especially now that I am about at the halfway point of the bottle. So Joe, you also have ginger beer casks. Unfortunately, I haven't tried them. I kind of got shafted a little bit when it comes to the ginger beer releases. There had been a couple where I had joined the ballot, and unfortunately, I missed out on them. And then on the last release, I was accepted for the ballot, but at the time, expenses came up and I was not able to afford a bottle. So I got screwed on that one. But you never know. Maybe sometime in the future, I'll be able to get a bottle. I have actually found a local liquor store that does actually have a couple of bottles available. So I may even go in and grab a bottle from them if I get the chance and if they still have it. Yep, Lilith, I have a whole range of Starwood reviews. I've got a playlist on my channel ready to go with all my Starwood content. So if you're up for it and you can tolerate putting up with watching more of me, then please go ahead and let me know what you think of the videos. I would love to hear your feedback. Now, I don't know about the rest of you. For me, I love pepper in my whiskeys. I really enjoy that spice, and I love that brightness of the spirit. For me, I've never really been one that's been put off by the youth of a whiskey. I enjoy whiskeys of all ages, and I think when it comes to enjoying Australian whiskeys, what we always need to keep in mind is obviously our climate rapid ages whiskeys like crazy. So it is kind of unrealistic to expect a lot of Australian distilleries to be able to produce much older whiskies unless they're using like second or third filled casks. And again, those unfortunately are very hard to come by. And when they are, cha-ching, they're very expensive as well. Again, pepper, caramel, lots of vanilla. The caramel and the vanilla are just complementing each other very well. They're kind of dancing around each other, getting into the groove. And then milk chocolate. I am getting lately. I've been getting a lot of dark chocolate notes on a lot of the whiskeys that I've been trying, but no, this time it's changing it up on me, and I'm getting more of a a milk chocolate influence. So it's a bit softer, it's creamy, it doesn't have that bitterness to it. And then that kind of blends in with the vanilla and then creates like this vanilla cream influence. The nose is still quite powerful. Every time you go in for a sip, you get drawn in by the nose as well. Now, more of the palate, I am getting more apples, pears. What else? There's again the oak influence. Again, it just dances around there. It's doing its thing. It's having a good time. There's something else. But what is that note? Maybe it will come to me. I've got time. But again, there's a nice, gentle nuttiness that comes through as well. So again, more things like peanuts and almonds. This time as well, I'm also getting a touch of say a bit of walnut and even macadamia. there's just so much going on. It really is endless. This is going to be one of those bottles that you just want to sit and just savor and explore. And again, that's the one thing that I like more about using a rocks glass. It random things just pop out to you. I find that I am more relaxed when drinking out of a rocks glass, and I just pick up every now and then. You nose it, you pick up something random. You taste, you get something random. There's always these different things coming up. Um, that note that I'm finding, it is like a saltiness. So imagine a Lafroig, for example, and this may not be the best analogy, but it's what I'm going to go with. So imagine the salinity, the iodine notes of a Lafroig, but strip away everything else. So no peat, no seaweed, no brine, or any of those kind of like funky notes that you get from a typical Lafroig, but just focus on the salt and the iodine. And I think that's what I'm getting. It is kind of like a coastal sea breeze that's coming up, and as that breeze comes towards you, you're able to pick up that saltiness from the air. That's kind of, I guess, the easiest way to describe what I am tasting. That was the note that I'm looking for. Maybe another similarity as well that I'm also picking up from the Lafroig. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but as I've made my way through many a bottle of Lafroig 10, the first half very intense, lots of smoke, lots of peat. But then as you get to about the halfway mark and then even lower, those peaty notes kind of wash away, and then you're left with sweetness. I find that Lafroig 10 becomes extremely sweet once you get to about the last third of the bottle. And those types of notes that you get are more fruity. You get honey. There's It really just opens up to a different dimension. Now, Lilith, please don't like get me wrong on this at all. This is by no way a peated whiskey. There is no peat going on in this. It's just more so that I am taking that comparison of the salt and the iodine notes from the Lafroig to this. So if you are not a peat person, you will be safe with this whiskey. I hope that I haven't scared you off. Um, but again, that's other things that I'm starting to get through now is the honey. There's sweeter fruits. Think of things like a nice, fresh, sweet apricot, stewed fruits again. So more like stewed plums, raisins, figs, all those types of things. So even just from pouring like a little bit and having and just exploring it over this 40, oh, wow, we're at 48 minutes. Damn, live streams go fast. Um, at this point, it has opened up so much, and again, it just makes me even more excited to be able to try this bottle as I get through it. Now, I did also mention at the start of the video, so I think before anybody kind of turned up, um, this is not really going to be my official review of this whiskey. I will, once I get down, say, past the shoulder of this, um, which, considering how much I'm enjoying this at the moment, will be quite soon. Hopefully, by early next week, I will be putting out my official review of this, and I guess there will be a more shorter, concise version of this. Now, kind of getting on, let's move along now to the finish of this. Again, very soft, very gentle, and for all the people that hate this term, I guess as much as they hate the word moist, it's very smooth. It is a smooth finish whiskey. there's no prickle, there's no burn, there's no harshness. It just goes down extremely well. Um, it is just very pleasant, and I think the one good thing about that is that I know this is probably going to be quite a limited release, but it would also have been a um, a good introductory whiskey for a lot of people. Sorry, guys, just bear with me for a little bit. I just want to savor that last pour, or I should say that last sip. Again, it changes. Now there's like a it's become quite perfumey as well. It's like a floral essence that's come through. It's like walking through a flower garden. Uh, and oh, well, a new person joining us, Jesse. Thank you for joining in. And you're right, smooth is not a common feature of Starwood. Um, they can be generally quite intense. And now you're asking as well, is it similar to Lark? No, it is. Yeah, nowhere near as comparable to Lark. Now, having said that, I have only tried the Lark Classic Cask, um, but that is also a 20 aged or finished whiskey, and you do get more of that 20 influence coming through. So I found that the Lark Classic Cask is a lot more syrupy in texture. This isn't like that at all. It does not have, and this is one thing that I kind of forgot to mention on the palate when I initially tried it, is that at the moment it does not have a very thick mouthfeel at all. It's a bit thin. Um, it does not have the viscosity of say other Starwood releases. I have found that, excuse me, some of the other Starwood releases do have a bit more of a slightly syrupy texture to it. This one doesn't, but thank the creator or whoever had the final say in the release of this whiskey that they decided to bottle it at 48%. I think if they had proofed it down even more and put it down to say like the 41 or the 42 that the Solera and the Nova came out at, I would be having a totally different experience altogether. I do not think it would be as enjoyable, and the overall mouthfeel and experience would have been lacking, to say the least. But being that this is bottled at 48%, it's given that little bit of extra impact. And as I said before, when I first tasted it, my very first sip was very intense. It was very spiky, very punchy. It is a 48% whiskey that just really punched above its pay grade, and it had more of a feel of, say, like a 50-52% mark, whereas other, say, 48% whiskeys I've had before, even though this is my favorite ABV range, some of them can be a little bit softer, and again a lot smoother in general, where this one, the initial sip, it it packed a punch. But then, ironically enough, the second sip, very soft, very gentle, and very easygoing. Uh, so I think now time to pour some water, just to rehydrate a bit and to rinse out the glass. Overall, this was, or is, I should say, not was. I haven't finished it yet. I still have pretty much a full bottle a very enjoyable whiskey. I love so far the journey that it's taken me on. A lot of whiskeys that I have kind of tried recently, one dimensional is not really the, I guess, the right expression to use. But they are more or less like one hit wonders. They are, I guess, typical of the style of whiskey that they are. Like, say, for example, the Glen Grant 10, which I recently reviewed. Fantastic whiskey, absolutely beautiful. But again, it is a typical space side. It has those notes that you would generally expect of a space side whiskey. Whereas this one, it has the Starwood characteristics, as I mentioned at the start of the video as well, is that this is a Starwood, but it's different again. It doesn't taste like your typical core range releases, which again has been one of the major things that I have loved so much about the Starwood releases, especially like their projects range and things like that, is the fact that everything that's released, it tastes different. It doesn't taste exactly the same. Whereas if you were to compare, say, like the Nova and the Solera, I've always felt that there are quite a lot of similarities with that. But with the projects releases, again, they are what they're meant to be. They're projects. They are meant to be different. Like this one here, the Starwood Bourbon Cask. I'm gonna kill this off today. I have had this sitting on my shelf for about with about that much left in the bottle for about a year and a half, maybe going on almost 2 years now. And I have not been able to bring myself to finish it. And that has been more so for the fact that this particular release, like I had mentioned before, has been my favorite release from Starwood. It just opened up my whiskey experience to a whole different level. Um, whether I've made a mistake about letting it sit this long with that much air in the bottle, we're about to find out. But I'm curious to see if it's going to, I guess, invoke the emotions and the experience that I originally had gotten from it. So, if you're willing to, for those of you who are still put up with me so far, and if you're willing to, uh, I guess, to stick around a little bit longer, I'm going to pour the rest of this. If actually, even still, if any of you want to actually come in and join me on the chat, there is a link in the description. Feel free to hit that link and join me in the chat, and I would like to, I guess, discuss Starwood with you. So if any of you are again willing to do that, by all means, come and introduce yourself, say hi. I would love to be able to speak with you. Um, so we now also have the Whiskey Lover Society in the chat. Greetings all. They are saying thank you for joining in the chat again. I'm so grateful to be able to see new people joining in. Again, I've not had um, Simon. There should be a link in the description box. Let me see. Actually, I might be even just hold on one second. Let's copy this and I can share. All right, so there should be a link that's popped up in the comments section now. So if you're wanting to, uh, yeah, Lilith, that's perfectly fine. Hopefully next time, you're more than welcome to join me on the chat. As I mentioned, one of the main reasons as well why I have done the Octave Barrels review as a live stream today was because it has been a long time since I have done a live stream before, and I just really wanted to get back into the groove of it. I think that now that I do start to have a bit more time on my hands, I will try to do more live streams a bit more frequently. And I do kind of want to do like a space side exploration type thing where I may just grab about 3 or 4 different space side whiskeys that I have and just talk about each one. Um, yeah, so I'm going to pour the rest of this right now, and I'm going to enjoy some more. I can't believe I'm going to. I I can't believe I'm doing this. This I have been holding off. And this is kind of sad, but yet also a very happy moment for me. Oh wow, Ben,
Hello, mate. How's it going?
mate, how are you,
Yeah, I'm all right. I've just literally it's 12 o'clock here now, so I've just hit lunch break. So
oh,
I thought I'd
fantastic,
pop in and say hello for 5 minutes.
mate? And you've come in at the perfect time. I said I'm trying to get that last
Just ring it
that
out, ring it
last
out.
drop, mate. If I was, ah, oh, maybe I'll stick a straw in there later if I'm desperate enough to. I think I've probably mentioned to you before, but this is my favorite Starwood release of all time. This is the Bourbon Cask, and I've mentioned it bloody 3 or 4 times. Like I said, I've rambled on so much in this video so far. Um, but again, this whiskey is one of those ones that's been an epiphany whiskey for me, and it just opened up my whiskey experience. Now, I'm sure, I mean, you've been doing this for quite a while now, and I'm
Whoa, yeah.
sure you have come across many whiskeys that have given you a similar experience as well. And it's just one of those things that's just a fantastic thing to be able to have a whiskey that just opens you up to new things. And then it kind of, especially coming from a whiskey noob's perspective, when you're kind of at that point where you don't know if you're doing it right, whether you don't know whether you're getting all the notes and things like that, and then you try something like that, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm getting this, I'm getting that, and now I'm getting this and that and that, and you just keep getting more and more. You can tell I'm just so excited about this.
It's a funny thing, because I mean, it sounds obvious when I say it, but not a lot of people have made the kind of association. But like your sense of smell is hooked so deeply into your memory that it's unreal. I mean, like anyone like with a nose, like let's say your memory was completely blanked, you'd be able
Yeah,
to smell everything. Obviously, your nose would still work, but you wouldn't know what that smell was because you have to have
exactly.
smelt it before and know what it was. So the for me when I started tasting kind of whiskies is that I then started smelling everything.
Yeah,
Like even like musty old stuff. I mean, a great example. I've got my face mask here.
yeah,
I think like that smells of my kind of work day almost.
yeah,
But there's some chemically elements to that pop up in whiskey. So it's important to kind of just smell everything. Like get yourself down the fruit market. Just well, not pick stuff up and smell it. Buy
yeah.
it first and then smell it. But but yeah, that's how for me that's where it really started to start getting wider and wider was when I started doing that as a process, and then my
Yeah.
whiskey reviewing got better.
Well, one thing I think for me that really helped with this is that they had used Maker's Mark and Wild Turkey ex bourbon barrels to age this. And just before I had tried this for the first time, like literally the two whiskeys that I had before this was Maker's Mark and Wild Turkey.
Mm,
So I had that um that base element there, or that experience of those whiskeys. And then when trying this, I knew what to look for. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting as I would nose it and as I would taste it, I'm thinking, okay, yes, I'm getting the wheat from the makers. I'm getting the rye from the wild turkey. So pretty much
Mm.
everything that you would generally experience from those two whiskeys was coming out, and was the first time I was able to experience that in a whiskey. Whereas when I had bourbons before, I would just be getting, oh yeah, it's a bourbon. I'm getting vanilla, caramel, etc., etc. But again, like I said, this just made it so that I was just able to expand, I guess, my repertoire of of nosing and tasting to a whole new level.
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring in another person into the chat now. So here we have Simon.
Hey.
G'day,
Simon, welcome,
guys.
welcome to the group, man. It's nice to meet you. How are you?
Yeah, nice. I think we actually met on a stream a couple of weeks ago when Fred was having his.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
that was a long night. I can't remember.
I mean, you mean you? So, had you actually been doing live streams with Ken?
Yeah, pretty much all the time.
Vin, you're familiar with Scotch Down Under?
Yeah, because I mean, just like now,
Yep.
like you guys are live streaming during my working day, so I tend to
Yep.
put Ken on in the background and get very jealous of everyone drinking. But because the truth of the matter is that I can't sit there of an evening
Mm,
in my time zone watching my
Mm.
time zone people's, because I'm looking after a baby,
yep.
Yeah.
so it's 9 p.m. comes along and I can't sit there for 2 hours watching a live stream. I just like that.
Like,
So
I
yeah, this is perfect. I engage with you guys a lot because I'm basically sitting at work and just
like
listening along.
Yeah, why
I've
not?
always kind of put Roy, like Aquavite, like at the top of like when it comes to live streams. I mean, he
Mm,
can go on for quite a while. And then the first time I had kind of come across Ken, I think 5.5, 6 hour live stream. I'm like, oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
this guy's just, he does it. Maybe this is the first time that he's done it. Then like another week went by and it happened again. Next week came along and it's like they're getting longer. How the hell is this guy doing it? I've got no idea how the hell he manages to maintain a 7 hour live stream.
yeah. I think
I
one
mean,
time I
he.
saw him. He done his live stream, and it was like he'd been going for so long that his kid came into shot with their breakfast bowl, and I was just like, I mean, it was the end of my day. It must have been like
Yeah,
sort of 8 9 p.m., but it must have been like 6 a.m. 7 a.m. for you
yep.
guys over there. And I was just like,
Mm.
my God, Ken, go to
And
bed.
and just to give you an idea as well of how big Australia is. Now, Ken is located in Western Australia. I'm in
Mm,
New
Yeah,
South Wales. So we're
I'm
on,
WA as well.
and you're WA as well,
Mhm.
Simon. Okay. So I think what is there like about is there about 3 or 4 hour time zone difference between
Depending with daylight
daylight
savings,
savings? Yeah.
at the moment, with Queensland, I'm 2 hours behind. So you
Okay.
had
So
Lewis
it
Morgan.
probably is more
She's
than
from
maybe 2 or 3 hours.
Queensland. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that just gives you an idea of how big our country is when you consider that we are both on either side of the country,
Hmm.
and you've got like 2 or 3 time zones different in our own country.
Yeah.
So it's massive. A lot of the times, I think when I've been waking up in the morning, say whether it's about 6:30, 7 o'clock, that's when Ken is at about the 6 hour mark on his live streams. It's
Well, he did an
unbelievable.
8.5 hour the other night on Wednesday. 8.5.
Wow.
He's the home of the only official 24-hour live stream that's ever been done on a whiskey tube, I
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It really is.
think.
Now, I saw that Simon, you were pouring a Starwood.
Yeah, I've got the
What
not sure if my camera will pick it up.
are the single barrel? Is that
Yeah,
the
single barrel
AWAS release? Is it or
vintage cellars.
vintage sellers? Okay.
Yeah, American oak red wine barrels. It is 56%. Um, Yeah, and only 396 bottles.
So,
Nice.
have you got the Fortis?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't tried. That's one of the only ones I haven't tried.
Okay, so I'm curious. Like you were saying, that was American oak and red wine barrel, but that
Yeah,
is at a higher ABV. So I am
yeah.
curious to see if it is actually similar to the Fortis.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I
Like this
probably
is
would be.
50%, the Fortis,
Mm,
and you said that was 56.
yeah, 56. Yeah,
Yeah.
mine was filled in the August of 2016 and bottled April 2021. So that's what about
Yeah.
almost 4.5 years old, 4.8 months old, 4 years and 8 months.
Actually, Vin, I don't know if you know off the top of your head at all, but I was curious to know what batch you have of the Fortis.
I don't know off the top of my head. No.
Ah,
I'll check that though, and I'll let you know.
yeah.
Yeah, because
The
it's important, right?
Well, it's interesting to know for like batch comparison. I mean, I was lucky enough that I was able to. This is the batch one. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. That's the batch one there.
Oh wow, that's
And
right.
I haven't been able to compare it to other batch releases yet, so I am curious to see how much of a difference there is from batch to batch.
Mm, yeah,
So
that would be interesting.
I think when you get around to doing your review of the Fortis, definitely make sure you reference what batch you have. And I'm curious to see how similar or different they are.
It's a good
Mm.
shout. Yeah, I'll when I get home, I'll ping you. You'll probably be in bed by then.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to head off because I need to go and eat my lunch before I carry on
Oh,
work. But
yep.
good to
No
chat to you
problem at all.
both again. And I'll
Hey,
Yeah, cheers,
hopefully
Vin. Yeah,
hopefully see you again soon.
it was great to even have you pop in. So thanks again, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
Definitely, yeah.
yeah,
Great
good to
stream,
see you,
by the
man.
way. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed it.
yeah, cheers.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll talk
Cheers,
to you
guys.
later on, man. Thank you very much.
See
Bye
ya.
bye. And then there was two. But have you been able to like experience like much of the Starwood range yourself? I
I've pretty
personally try to
much,
jump on them as
yeah.
quickly as I can. I've generally been quite a big like Starwood fan.
Mm. Like my favorite is still the ginger beer cask, the
Yep.
last one they had. That is still my favorite Starwood. But yeah, I've had the Nova, I've had the Solera, I've had the twofold, I've had the well, I'm gonna the
The
smoked
small
mesquite
batch. Yep.
smoked, single barrel, and yeah, a couple of them. So most of
So
them.
you said that one was the mesquite
Yeah,
smoke you
mesquite.
said
Yep,
there.
yep,
Have you had
yep.
the cherry wood as well?
No, I missed out. It literally when we got the thing, I think we were actually on one of Ken's streams, and then
Yep.
someone mentioned, "Oh, did you see the new releases that Starwood's doing with the smoke stuff?" And as soon as we all jumped on that thing, it was gone.
Man, I got really lucky with that.
Mm.
I think I was fortunate enough to actually have a day off work that time.
Oh,
I had
okay.
the email notification come up, and it was just one of those things where at first I think which one I think was the mesquite, I think it was, or was it the cherrywood that had the smallest release?
Cherrywood. Yeah, it
The
was
cherrywood.
Cherrywood.
Okay, yeah, so
Yep.
that's what it was. I jumped on the cherrywood straight away, and I'm thinking, you know what, I would be happy with just having that one. And then next day came along, and I thought, you know what, screw it, I have to have both of them.
Mm.
I jumped on, and
Yeah.
the being that the mesquite had the highest batch release, there was
Yeah.
still some
Yeah.
available.
Yep.
Jumped on it straight away from that point, and I was able to get both of them. I have to say, if as much as they're not my favorite release as such from Starwood, they are definitely the most interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It's like I've just been working my way down it. At first, I liked it, but then I don't know, something happened about halfway through where it just turned all sour to me, and
Okay.
I left it for a while. Then it got a bit better. I mean, I haven't tried it actually for quite a few months, so that's why I'll probably try this next just to see if. But yeah, it's. For me, they've been kind of definitely interesting. I mean, I'm glad they're doing these special, like smoking it with these different woods, which I really like.
Yeah.
But yeah, curious to
Or
see how it's.
maybe say if you're interested, or maybe say later on we can grab each other's details. I mean, I'll be more than happy enough to send you a sample of the cherry wood. At least in that way you can experience it and see what you think of it as well. I mean, unfortunately, a sample is only a sample, but at least you get to
Yeah, let's do.
you get to try it at least. So
Which one did you like better?
we'll try and work something out. Sorry, man, what was that?
Did you have a preference, like out of the two?
It's, to be honest, now at the moment I can't really remember. It has been probably a little bit too long since I last had them. Vague My vague memory at the moment is that I'm swaying more to the cherry wood that I preferred. And it was interesting. I found at the time there was people in like some of the Aussie like Facebook whiskey pages that were throwing in comments that were like, "What's the closest like Australian whiskey to say something like Lagavulin?"
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And when those were released, that was my go-to. I went straight away the Starwood, Mesquite, and Cherrywood, and that was mostly because as well that with Lagavulin, I find that rather than being a very peaty whiskey, it's more smoky.
Yeah.
I get more smoke on the Lagavulin than what I do on the peat, and obviously, since with the Mesquite and the Cherrywood Starwood releases that they have smoked the malt in those with those woods, you get that smoky influence. Not long after, though, I did try the Lagavulin against either one. I can't remember which one it was, and it was like chalk and cheese. They were nothing like each other at all.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's what people forget. There is a big difference between actual smoke and peat.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get smoke off peat, but peat
Yes.
has its own unique flavor, while you can get smoke of just smoking any type of wood.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but say for myself in general, I tend to pick up and focus more on the smoky element of a peated whiskey more so than what I do on the actual peat itself.
Yeah.
And I think that has also been influenced by the Aussie whiskies that I've tried so far, especially because I don't know, have you tried any of Crafty's Craftworks distillery whiskies at all?
No, I don't know. I haven't. No.
Well,
We don't get them much around here.
he's one of our like New South Wales distillers, and his main thing that he goes for practically on every release is an extremely heavy char. So one thing that you can always expect from one of his releases is always heavy char, heavy smoke. So I've become more accustomed to that, and I have learnt to be able to pick up those more smoky elements from other whiskies as well. So I've, in a way, learnt to differentiate between a peat flavor and smoke. And I actually prefer the smokiness as much as I love the peated flavor. I love the smoke element that comes through on a fantastic smoky Aussie whiskey or peated Scotch, or even peated Aussie whiskey.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I'm the same. Like the reason why I love peated / smoky whiskey is because I love smoked food.
Yep.
And if I can get just that nice smoke flavor from a whiskey, that's what I'm looking for. For example, have you ever tried a Balcones Brimstone?
Unfortunately, no. I have not had a chance to try any of the Balcones yet.
Okay, the Brimstone, they actually smoke the liquid itself, and that gives you a really nice actual like barbecue smoke, proper barbecue smoke.
Okay. Yeah, they've Balcones has been one of those ones that I've been wanting to try them for a long time, but I'm sure, as you know, their availability in Australia
Oh yeah,
is
yeah,
extremely limited.
Yeah.
And then when you are actually able to come across them, well, they're not cheap either. As
no.
I mean, that's the typical thing that we always complain about. I don't know. Are you in the whiskey tribe at all in Facebook,
No, I'm
or
not. No, no.
any like US based like whiskey groups on Facebook?
No, not on Facebook. No.
The the interesting thing in those groups is that
Yeah, they hate
people,
it.
oh, it's also they always complain about how expensive a whiskey is. Now,
Oh,
when a
okay.
whiskey comes to say about $30 or $40, they're complaining, oh man, I paid $40 for
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
like for Lafroig 10. I think, dude, are you serious? You're complaining about paying $40 for Lafroig 10? Come to Australia,
And
you're
they
going to
get
be
that.
paying at
Yeah,
least 100 for it.
they're getting it for
Yeah.
43% over there as well. The Lafroig.
And they get it at a higher ABV. That's the
Yeah, that's
one thing it frustrates me all the time, is the fact that they are able to get it for a higher proof and pay less,
Yep.
and we get it at
And
a
bigger,
lower
yeah,
proof
yeah.
and pay more. Yeah.
And bigger bottle.
Which-
They get the full 750s over there.
And man, we're getting screwed. We really are.
Well, that's it. Like, I mean, I'm not on Facebook, but I join a lot of American streams.
Yep.
On YouTube. So, and yeah, when we discuss bottles, like for example, I've got this E.H. Taylor small batch.
Yep.
That is a $300 bottle here, or $225 USD, and for them, it's about a $40 to $60 USD bottle.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah.
I know as well with some things, obviously, once you kind of like work out the conversion rate, there's not a whole it does kind of balance out a bit. But there's been some instances where I can't remember what the price was, but I had found a bottle of Eagle Rare in one of my local Dan Murphy stores.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And I think it was going for about $80 or such.
Yeah,
It was about that mark.
Yeah,
at the
around
time.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I've got when I started doing my say like my YouTube channel for the reviews, there was quite a few other channels that started up around the same time, and we've all kind of like banded together, and we've made like our own like little network of channels. So one of the channels that I follow, the guy's name is Antonio from the Whiskey Quests. So
I've
watching this,
heard of him. I've watched him.
go and follow Whiskey Quest. It is a fantastic channel. He had put up a post about a bottle of Eagle Rare. Now he was paying, or he didn't pay, but he saw the price of about $80 US, and we're paying $80 Australian for it.
So that's like 120 almost.
Yeah, like in his, like, because he's based in Chicago, so every state, every suburb, it's weird in the States. At least in Australia, we have like one tax system that covers the whole thing.
Yeah.
Whereas in the States, it differs from from country, say, to state, to down to an individual suburb. They really do have a weird system, and
then they've got that
area,
bullshit, that bullshit, where the government owns the what are they called? State controlled liquor.
I think there was something like that as well. Yep. And he would have been paying about $80 for the bottle of Eagle Rare in his area in Chicago. I started laughing at him, man. For once, I found a whiskey that we can get here cheaper than what you can get it.
But it's like this. It's I mean, you've obviously seen this at Dan's.
The Blantons, yep.
Yeah, I mean, they're paying horrendous amounts for even just this standard bottle. Yeah. I mean, this here is about around $100, which is 75 USD. They're literally paying $200 to $300 USD on average. Like it retails for them for about 60, but because it's one of those that are allocated, so they only get a small amount each year. And as soon as they hit the shelves, it just goes on secondary straight away, and they're paying like, this is literally, people hunt this bottle down over there. and pay hundreds of dollars.
And do you? I'm not really very familiar with Blantons. Do we get the same ABV level here as what
We
they get
get
in the States as well?
same ABV, plus we get the Blanton's Gold and the straight from the barrel, which until last or this year used to be they couldn't get it no matter what. It just did not exist for them. And if they did find it, they're paying $500 plus for those bottles. But now they have them as an annual release, but they're still, by the time they find it, they're paying, $300 a bottle, and that's USD.
Yeah, that's it really is ridiculous. But
Yeah.
I just got to mention one thing at the moment. Johnny H, welcome to the chat. I have finished the initial review of the Starward Octave, but at the moment we're just doing general whiskey chat. So if you want to join in, please feel free to. I'll post it again. Here's a link for anybody that wants to come in. If you want to come in and chat and just talk whiskey or whatever you want to talk about, please feel free to join in. In general, like now that we've actually got a good chance to be able to speak with each other. Lilith, thank you for joining in. It was great to have you here. Again, thank you for joining in. And now we have Edward Yudavin in as well.
Oh yeah, Edward. Yeah, he's a fellow West Australian.
Yeah, man, we've got all the Westies out here today. I'm Western.
Still, it's only 7:30, barely 7:30.
Again, Edward, if you're up for it, please join us in. Come in, click the link, and join us as well.
Don't worry, Edward. We're not going till fucking 5 a.m. in the morning. This is not.
No, I don't have that type of energy in me. But I've got a couple of. Oh, damn that! Almost lost that water. Might as well. I've got my Fortis. I might as well pour a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not going anywhere at the moment.
No.
Well, Simon, cheers again.
Yeah,
thank you for joining me in. So,
thanks for having me.
Did I ask you? Did I ask you before? No, you did. That's right. You said you hadn't had the Fortis, but you're drinking the
single barrel.
Yeah, the single barrel version. Yeah.
Which Edward actually has, who just joined us on stream.
The same as you?
Yeah.
Mate, pour a glass, come and join in and chat with us. Come on. Bring it in. Mate, on the Fortis, I get quite a lot of a heavy a rye note. Did you find that as well with that single barrel? Do you find that American oak really impacts that spirit?
Oh yeah, definitely. You get that it's definitely that almost like that spicy kind of grain.
It's got a it
know
smells,
what you mean by rye.
Yeah, like it smells more like a bourbon than what it would say. Excuse me, like a typical Starwood or Aussie whiskey versus a Scotch. It does have more of that bourbon influence to it. Yeah, Edward, mate, the Octave was fantastic, but mate, never fear. If you want, once this video is done, you can always go back and rewatch it. But also, sometime next week, I will actually do a proper review of it, especially once I start to get through the bottle. So once I probably get past the shoulder, I will do the actual review of the Octave. So, and sorry to cut you off just there, Simon.
No, you're right. But yeah, that's the thing with the Octave. Like, I've been wondering. The only reason I haven't ordered is I just want to know if it's like I was mentioned before in a comment earlier, is because the Nova is also, as far as I know, primarily Shiraz matured.
Yep.
And I'm just wondering if there's a big difference between the Octave and the Nova. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of Shiraz barrels they're using for the Nova. I'm guessing just your standard Barossa.
Yeah.
Valley Shiraz, and I'm just wondering if, because the Octave is, that's a high end Shiraz, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if that actually makes a big difference
Well,
as a quality of.
it would have to, like, wouldn't it? Like, it's one of those things that you would just naturally assume that it would have to. Like you said, the Nova would use, I guess, like a standard Shiraz cask. I guess whatever
Yeah,
they're able to
yeah,
get
just
their hands on. Whereas with this one, the Octavius, it is a specific
yeah,
release. It is really, as far as I know, it is kind of like a single barrel
mm,
release. Whatever
yeah,
influence
yeah,
you're going to get from that wine um, will impact the spirit. Whereas if you compare it to the Nova and I guess various batches of the Nova, I know to me you would just naturally expect that there would be that difference between them.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I've never tried the Octavius, and I think you put up the price of of what it was, and it doesn't seem like
Oh
I'm
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be
No.
trying it anytime soon, as much as I want to now. But like I said, when it comes to wine, unfortunately, I haven't gotten. I love wine, I really do enjoy
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I haven't gotten to that point, I guess,
Exactly. Yeah,
in
yeah,
my
yeah.
wine experience that I'm willing to spend
No.
that type of money on a bottle of wine, especially
No.
when once it's opened, you have to
Yeah,
drink it.
exactly. You have to. I mean, you've got what, 3 days maximum.
Mm.
I mean, and with a whiskey, I can just have it put on the shelf for 6 months and come back to it. You can't do that with
Well,
wine.
like I said at the start of the video, when I was talking about this has been sitting literally on my shelf in front of my face for about a year and a half, and I haven't touched it. I finally killed the bottle tonight, so I'm just
Did
trying
you
to think if
notice
they
any
actually.
change?
Unfortunately, picking tonight probably wasn't the best moment to try it. I think because I still had the taste of the Octave.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it kind of tasted like a marriage between the two. Unfortunately, this time I found it a little bit more soapy. I wasn't able to pick up on the bourbon influence that I was able to when I was first drinking it. And again, I think again that's come down from the fact that really I poured it into the same glass as
Yeah.
well that I had the Octavian. But look, to be honest, I'm not disappointed. I expected that difference. To have
Yeah.
a bottle of whiskey sitting there for that long with
Oh, yeah, yeah.
literally 20 mils left in a bottle, I was expecting it to taste like nothing, to be honest. And
Yeah.
luckily enough, it tasted like something. So, and
Well,
look,
that's good.
I got to enjoy it on the chat with everybody watching. So it made up for it.
No, that's good. But yeah, I wonder if they're going to release the Octave. Is it just an online, or are they going to release it in stores as well? Like whatever's left.
I have a feeling it will only be online.
Oh, okay.
Normally they would. Normally they let you know how many bottles that have been released in their releases, but for this one they haven't. But just
Oh,
bear with me. I'll jump on over to their site now and let's see if maybe I missed a if I missed anything.
'cause the only thing
But
I'm thinking is like the expeated.
the unexpected, yeah.
Yeah, unexpeded. They said, oh, it looked like it was going to be limited, but now you can actually find it in stores.
Well, that one, I think from memory, it had a relatively big release.
Oh, okay.
I'll have a look in a minute to see if they've actually said how much, but from memory, that was a big release that they had from there. So I would have expected in general that they would have had uh, other that you would be able to find it in other like locations as well once they
Mm.
kind of get over their first release. But yeah, unfortunately, even on their website for the Octave, they're not actually saying how many bottles were released.
That's what I mean. That's why I'm thinking it might actually turn up maybe on, because with the cherry wood
Look,
smoke
it
and
might.
the mesquite, they actually said the number of bottles.
Yeah,
And with the unexpeded and the the one you're having, the octave,
the Fortis.
they
Yeah.
actually haven't, they haven't had any, haven't mentioned any numbers of how many bottles.
Well, see, that's the thing with the Fortis. At least was that they what's it called? That ended up becoming a part of their core range, and the
Mm,
fact that
mm.
they're doing it in batch releases, I mean, it gives them that freedom to be able to uh, just to kind of release things as they have. So
Mm.
no, just to point out now, we actually have Zach McHardy in the chat, mate. Again,
Oh,
if you're
nice.
willing, please come in, join in. Here's the link, and come in and have a chat with us if you're up for it. So even now, you're saying as well that they have stopped with number releases as of the start of
Mm.
financial year. Okay, but I th- I vaguely remember having a when. Unfortunately, I can't get to it at the moment, but the unexpeded, it may have had about a 20,000 bottle release, I think.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Um, which, especially for an Aussie release,
that's
that's a
big.
massive release. Um,
I mean, I was gonna get it, but the only thing that put me off is I'm kind of well, it's kind of a pet hate me and Ken from Scotch Down Under is people using Isla barrels to bring smoke, like, or using, like for example, an Australian whiskey releases a peated whiskey and they're importing peat from Scotland. It kind of,
yeah.
it's, is it really an Australian peated whiskey?
Well, thing that drew me to the unexpeded, and again, it's the one thing that I liked about it, is that it's not a peated whiskey.
Okay.
All they've done is that they've taken an ex Isla cask, and I believe that it may be Lagavulin. Don't quote me on that, but I think I
Probably
remember
would be.
reading something a while ago that it was saying that it was a Lagavulin cask, and they've then aged their spirit in the cask. I think it also may have been a wet cask as well. I don't think they let it dry out, so
Okay. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
would then also help to give that extra
Mm,
peaty smokiness to it as well. But it was not released as a peated whiskey.
okay.
It's got the smoke and peat influence from the barrel, but they haven't actually smoked the barley itself.
Okay. Because yeah, that's one of my pet hates. It's like, if you're going to make an Australian peated, at least use Australian peat, which we do have. I mean, we've got lime burners down here, and they use their
Yep.
own peat. And I just don't like it when Australian whiskey brings peat from Scotland, and then peats their barley with it, because technically then you're having a Scotch peated whiskey, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like
I
if
think
I want, I'd have an Isla if I wanted a Scotch peated, but if I want
yeah,
an Australian peated, I want an Australian.
and I guess it's one of those things. I guess it comes down to one affordability and availability, I suppose. I
Mm.
mean, uh, peat again is one of those things. It takes a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
time to be able to
yeah,
produce.
yeah.
I again and personally, I don't know how much we actually have available in Australia. Obviously, yes,
Mm.
we do have our own peat sources
Yeah, yeah.
locally, but it is probably still cheaper
Mm.
and easier to import from Scotland. And I think majority of the ones that they use, I think normally come from Inverness, I think.
Yeah, Inverness, the Highlands,
Yeah. Whereas Archie Rose, I think they actually import whether they do it themselves or not, I can't remember, but I think they actually import a peated malt already from Caithness, I think, which again, I'm not sure whereabouts that's located, but again, it's another
mainland. It's a mainland peat. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, I'm just about to bring in Zach. Mr. No, I have to ask you, is it Mr. Whisk Z or Whisk Z?
Whisk Z.
Whisk Z.
Yeah. So, because it's Zach, we're very unimaginative on the name, so we kind of thought up about it in about 30 minutes one day. So yeah.
Hey, funny that you are on here, Zach. I actually watched one of your reviews and I got a bottle of.
Oh, Jew Guide.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually literally just watched one of your reviews of it today.
So guys, I'm just going to point out we actually have Anthony from New Dram Drinker in the chat at the moment as well. Guys, if you are not yet familiar with New Dram Drinker, make sure you subscribe to him right now. New Dram Drinker and Anthony and his wife Nikki are probably two of the best like whiskey tubers out there at the moment. The community that they have created is just absolutely phenomenal. They are just absolute standout people. If you get a chance, definitely go and check them out. They are worth every bit of viewing and subscription you can that you can get. So guys, make sure you go and check out New Dram Drinker. Anthony, mate, if you're not at work, here's the link. Come and shoot the shit with us and have a well, you probably can't drink yet, but just come and join us for a chat. They're actually located in the UK.
Oh right. That'd be nice and early for them, about 11 o'clock.
So we can get him in and just bash on the pommies.
Yeah. So it's 12:30 over there. They would have already been to the pub by now.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah. And knowing Anthony, he's probably got a hip flask with him on the job as well.
So Simon, what did you think of the Jew Guide?
Well, I think it's exactly as they mentioned. It's just easy going. I mean, nothing outstanding, but at the same time, nothing harsh about it. It's just good old, you can just start your day. If you don't know where you want to go, what direction, you can just start with that and just make it sit. Like, I reckon, good, especially for the price. I mean, it's definitely be on my bar. Yeah, definitely. I'll keep it as a mainstay on my bar.
Yeah, I've been using it a bit. Basically, again, it's a starter for me, and then you get into some nice stuff, and then if you're kind of a little bit over the edge, you kind of go back to it, and then you go to monkey shoulder. When you're too drunk, you just go to monkey shoulder, so you don't have to waste any good stuff. So
that sounds like a plan.
I still haven't tried Jew Guide yet. Are they? I could be mistaken. I think I might be thinking of something else. Were they part of Lime Burners?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Okay.
This one is in particular.
Yeah, so Lime Burners, Jew Guide, it's their separate one. Tiger Snake, and then they've got University is their gin.
Yeah.
So, and everything they do is pretty damn good.
Yep. I mean, I've had pretty much nearly all of Lime Burners stuff. I mean, I'm in Western Australia, so I have to.
Are you guys actually able to, like, is the Lime Burners range in general more accessible in Western Australia than what it is throughout the rest of the country? I mean, even say for myself, man, I've only just recently been able to get a bottle of the Genesis White Oak, I think it is. But that's been the only one that I've come across.
Oh, really? Here it's I can get any of them.
We're seeing the Port Cask at BWS up in Brisbane, and we were seeing the White Oak or whatever it was, ages ago, but it's kind of disappeared. But then, it's only BWS. Like we've got shit places, man, for whiskey. So
Oh, what about Murphy's? Do you guys have Murphy's near you? Or?
Yeah,
Again?
we do, but in so every time I go down to Melbourne and I go through Dan Murphy's there's literally this massive section of Australian whiskey, and you come to Brisbane and there's Starwood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even for us, I've found that lime burners has kind of become a bit harder to find. And then, like you said, like you'll go to say somewhere like Dan's, and really, like the main ones that are always there are going to be Starwood, Heliers Road. Unfortunately,
Heliers Road.
I hold no like secret to how much I just can't stand at least the core range of Heliers Road. I hear that a lot of their other releases are supposed to be really good, but the core range, no.
So what don't you like about the Heliers? I'm just wondering if it's the same as me.
I've found them to be extremely unbalanced, and it's like they don't know what they want to be.
Yeah, for me,
like they want to be a cross between an Australian whiskey and a Speyside. But they haven't figured out how to balance what they want. Like I've been trying a few different Speysides recently, and I can kind of get those similarities of a typical Speyside whiskey in a Heliers Road. But when you taste the proper Speyside, it's balanced. It does everything that it's supposed to do, whereas Heliers is just all over the place. And
for me,
I no balance in it at all.
For me, Heliers, I don't know if you get it. For me, it just literally tastes like drinking purified bananas. Like that is the main thing I get. Is just this pure, just banana esters. I mean, I'm not sure if it's something they're doing with their distillation but it's just literally just tastes like if I purified a banana. It's just it's just so unnatural. I just
It's been ages for me. I think I've had it once and I went, nah, and then I just haven't gone back. So I don't even know what I don't like about it. It's just more that,
The frustrating thing for me is especially when it comes to doing reviews, I'm not always one that likes to be extremely negative about a whiskey. I mean, I can understand there's hard work that goes into every distillery when it comes to them making something, and
they don't plan on making shit whiskey.
And that's exactly, they don't plan on making shit whiskey. But again, not everybody is going to like the same thing. And unfortunately, when it comes to, say, for me with Heliers, and obviously you guys as well, where we can just obviously agree that it is shit. But
as you said, it's not hard work. But if you actually see, their factory is completely automatic. Everything's literally. I remember watching an interview with what's his name, Litter, or I can't remember his last name, Mark Litter or something. The distiller, he literally does everything just off the computer.
Yeah.
And all their stills, they're all stainless steel. They're not even using copper.
Well,
so I'm not.
They're something like the second largest whiskey producer in Australia.
Yeah.
Do you know who the produces the most amount of whiskey in Australia?
Like
Ned.
Ned.
What now? Ned?
I've never even had a Ned.
Ned whiskey produces the most amount of. This is from insiders. They produce the most amount of Australian whiskey.
I've heard of it, but never had it.
Yeah, because they do premix cans.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
when you go down that road, then
they're making tons of it.
So that's why I always thought that it was Starwood.
Yeah.
And even Archie Rose coming up the ranks.
Yep. Look, they'll be there now that they've moved. Both of them have moved into big production warehouses. But at the time when I got the information, it was Ned. Then it was Heliers Road, and I think it was then Starwood, and then Archie Rose would have been pretty much right behind them.
Yeah.
So
but didn't
talking about. You're right. Go on.
Yeah, didn't Starwood just get a investment from Diageo?
Diageo,
Yeah.
They did a few months ago, I think, or maybe even a year ago or so. I
Yeah,
think
a year. Yeah.
It's been a little while ago. I can't help myself. I'm going to pour some more of this.
No, go for it. Your first
This
live
is
stream for a
the
while.
Starward Octave barrels.
What are you thinking so far?
So far, I'm enjoying it. It's I mean, when I did the initial review of it, I probably did it over, say, 40-minute period to an hour. And
Yep.
I don't know, from my usual videos that I normally do, normally averaging about 12 minutes. I mean, in that time, it opened up and it was evolving like crazy. So I've really enjoyed so far the way it has changed. Very enjoyable. But
So
then I am kind of like a Starwood whore. I pretty much like everything that they put out. So,
So with it though, is it like some of the other releases that they put out where it needs the air to really enjoy it the most?
No, but it
Okay.
does also benefit. Say like the Fortis, for example. Yes, you need that air. Whereas with this one, it helps. I think that it's already bottled at 48%. So
Yep.
Okay.
they've already brought it down a bit, and it's already it's quite playful as it is. So then, as you get through it, and if you allow it that time to open up, it does open up and it does evolve. Now, for me in general, I've never really been one of those people that can sit with a glass of whiskey for about 40 minutes and let it go. I pour it, man, that thing's gone in 10 minutes or less.
Yeah.
But obviously, doing the live stream, answering comments, and just going on tangents, I was able to extend it and I was able to get more out of it. But as I've said before, once I get past the shoulder of the bottle, I will do the actual official review, and I'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah, cool.
This one was kind of just like I haven't done a review, live stream in, I think it's been almost a year and a half, 2 years almost, and I had the time, so I thought, screw it, I'm going to do a live stream. If anybody's going to come and watch, awesome. If not, I'll talk to the camera myself.
No, it's good you did the live stream.
Yeah, I'm glad I did, and it was great just to see new people come in as well. I mean, normally when I've done live streams in the past, I was normally doing them at about 5 a.m., 6 a.m. to try to get the UK audience. But this time around, I've been able to do it where I'm actually getting the Aussies coming in. I think this is this has been the most Aussies that I've had come in to watch a live stream before, and it's good to see that I guess I'm actually getting that audience. So
well, that's what me and Ken from Scotch Down Under have been trying to do, is just because usually most of our audience are all American.
Yep.
And that's why we stay up streaming so late, is because by the time we hit like in the morning, it's their afternoon, they start joining. But we're just missing out on getting just Australian whiskey tubers to come and join the whole live stream thing. And
well, I don't know, say for you, Zach, I don't know how long you've been doing this, but I've been going on, say maybe about 2 or 3 years, probably close to 3 years now that I've started doing like whiskey reviews on YouTube. And when I started, I think there were previously a few other, say, channels, like Aussie channels, but they kind of dropped off and didn't do anything. I think from what I've been able to notice, I think I had been the most active. But recently, there's been so many more other Aussie channels popping up now as well. And it's great to see.
Yeah. So I started, just going back to have a look. I've only been doing it for just over a year. It'd be about a year and a couple of months for me. Because it all started during COVID.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have anything else to do. I'm just going back through my YouTube stuff now. So 25th of January 2020 was basically I did a couple of things. My first ever one was October 25th, 2019, but I didn't do much at all. And then it wasn't until pretty much the end of January that I went, I can start doing this a little bit more. And then halfway through, when did I really push it? April. Yep. And then I started the 30 Australian whiskies in 30 days. I did that in May. And that kind of got me from no one watching me to kind of having a fairly good-ish pickup of people following straight away. Yeah. I haven't got that many people though. I still own. I've got a couple about 400 or something like that. I don't even know how many people I've got.
Well, man, think of it this way, man. I've been doing this for almost 3 years now, and I've just gone over 330. But
oh, right.
For me, it's been one of those things where it's been more of like a hobby outlet. It's not something that I've generally taken. It's never meant to be anything serious. It's just been about the fun of it and just exploring whiskeys, and also just being able to build up like friendships and relationships with other like whiskey people. I mean, I know, say, and it always comes down to the same thing. You usually hear the same story. Say like you're the only one amongst your group of friends that likes whiskey, and you're trying to branch out to find more people that enjoy whiskey. So what do? Well, you jump on YouTube and you find the people, and you build up those type of friendships with I guess with other people around the world, and that has been, I guess, the most rewarding aspect of doing this. And it has in a way also forced me to start trying more Australian whiskies. I think especially at the time when I started doing this, where there wasn't so many Aussie whiskey tubers going around, I thought, all right, cool, this is a market I can tackle. Let's start showing what Australian distillers are doing and push them to a more international audience, especially for my and in the US. And they were wanting to know, what do we have in Australia? So it's like, all right, well, this is what we have. I started off with a few Starwoods and then moved on from other things. And again, it has just been, it cost a lot of money, as you all know, but it's a fun ride.
Have you seen this collection?
Yep.
Yes, it's not a cheap hobby to have, but no, it's actually been really good. The stuff that's really happened for me with this whiskey stuff is meeting some obviously distillery owners and making good friendship with them. I've got an amazing contact and relationship with the Bladnock guys now, who are David Pryor from Australia and obviously Will from lives in Brisbane near me. I do now tasting events. I actually do once a month. I hold a whiskey event in Brisbane. So that's kind of a side business / hobby kind of thing for me. We do like a very basic stuff. So we did this webcam's back to front.
Yeah.
So we did the Gordon and MacPhail and the Ben Romack one with Alba Whiskey the other month. And then we're starting now to do every quarter doing a really high-end whiskey event. And the first one is the single cask set from Bladnock and that kind of stuff. So yeah, man, you're right. The friendships and stuff and the people you meet, it's been worth it just in that alone. Because I didn't come into this to do anything but just, I had spare time and I had a heap of whiskey, and I'm an attention whore, so I like being on camera. So
it's just like shower me with whiskey.
Yeah.
I'll put this out to you. If you're wanting to, I guess, and obviously once all our lockdowns and restrictions ease up and cross-border travel is a lot easier to do, we'll look into when you're doing one of these events, and if I'm able to come in and join you guys,
mate,
I'll bring this. And you can try the shittest whiskey that has ever been created.
And you can try that.
I've seen that.
How does it compare to this?
Mate, $500 for a bottle of cat piss.
Oh.
So we were talking about earlier how you don't talk bad about whiskeys and stuff like that. And mate, this is one of my most brutal reviews that I think I've done on my channel.
Now, having said that, with that whiskey, it having that price tag on it, is it the fact that the whiskey itself is that bad, or is it more so the fact that you paid that much for something that you didn't enjoy? Like, if you were to, do you reckon, like, if you were to try that blind, how do you think you'd find it? Like, you would know straight away that it's
it smells like turpentine. Smells like it is terrible stuff. I was lucky that I didn't pay the full 500. We went into a bottle share with about 9 or 10 people or whatever. It cost me about $60 or $80. That was it. And even at $60-$80, I feel ripped off.
Yeah.
Fuck.
They just rushed it, man. They knew that someone else was about to release it, so they wanted to have the trophy of being the first jar of wood, release. It's only what is it? It's a 51%. I don't even know if it should have had. I can't remember it, man. But yeah, it's just not right. It's just not right.
There's a distillery. I can't remember the name. Unfortunately, it is like an Aboriginal sounding name. I think the distillery itself is based in the Canberra area. They've been actually releasing a whole like range of whiskey spirit that has actually been aged in Jarrah and other I guess obscure woods.
Okay, yeah.
That they are technically not old enough yet to be called whiskey by Australian standards, but they were absolutely fantastic. I can't remember what they were called. If I think of the name, I'll send you guys the name of it or share it on social media somewhere. But then even just as an underage spirit, the quality was fantastic. I was able to try them. I think was it at Farrah's liquor store in Canberra, and yeah, they were absolutely brilliant. And for an underage spirit, phenomenal.
Mate, I gotta run upstairs and drop off a bottle, like an actual milk bottle for my 2-year-old. But I'll be back because there's a question I want to talk to you about new make actually.
No worries.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, going back to this mesquite smoked Starwood.
Yep.
It's actually not too bad, even though it's getting pretty low.
It's crazy, isn't it, how it changes over time? And then, obviously, as well, I've always found that your mood as well, like whatever mood you're in as well, will greatly affect. I've had some, and I'm sure you've probably experienced the same thing, where you'll find a whiskey that you really enjoy and you'd love it, and then you'll go to it one day and you're thinking, what is this crap that I'm drinking?
All the time, yep.
Like, how is it that you can go from something that you absolutely love to something that it's almost horrid?
Well, I just had that with the, I got a Redbreast.
Yep.
I got the 21-year-old, which was just a unicorn bottle for me, but I decided just, I'm going to go grab it. And at first when I opened it, was absolutely one of the best things I've ever had, but then I don't know what happened, but a few weeks later went back to it and it was just, I'm like, I fucking spent $400 for this? No way. But now it's actually starting to open up a bit more, get back to the original taste that I had.
Well, maybe I was thinking as well with the mesquite, maybe what you need to try is just to pour like a drop or two of that single barrel that you have into it, and maybe that's what it is that's making you enjoy it a little bit more.
I'll see if it works. Hang on. Just a little bit. Yep, that'll do.
Right, now you're going to have all the purists coming after you. What do you mean you're mixing your whiskey? How dare you do that?
Hey, a lot of people starting to. Actually, it's just added, a bit more depth to it. I mean, it's just more richer now.
It's probably given it that little bit of something extra for you that maybe it was missing before.
Yeah, I mean, what is this one is bourbon? Is it the mesquite?
As in the cask that
Cask,
was used,
yeah.
or to be honest, I'm not sure. As far as I know, I'm fairly certain that they've always done the red wine barrels. The only bourbon cask release that I know of that Starwood have done so far has actually been this one, which was the project's Starwood release. Everything else, as far as I know, has been aged in the red wine cask, with the exception of the ginger beer.
I'm just looking at the color. I mean, my camera won't pick it up, but I'm just using a sheer laptop. And then you compare it to this one, which is the red wine.
Yeah. One sec. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but that's the Portis. How's it going? Oh no, they're quite on the camera. It's quite similar, but the like from my view, the Octave is darker and more golden, whereas the Fortis is actually a bit more on the coppery red side.
So just got to remember too, Starwood do wet and also dry cask releases. Yep. So the Octave I think is a wet cask. It's not charred like some of them, and then the other ones are like dried, charred, and empty kind of thing. Some of them are left with so some of those really dark ones you'll see have probably been wet cask. I'd say. Yeah, I was down there in April going through a fair bit of things and talking about it. It's interesting stuff what they do and where they're going to go with everything. But cognac cask, I keep getting asked this question all the time. The cognac cask is still not going to be done.
Oh, really?
From Starwood?
Yeah.
But look, you never know. Maybe sometime down the track, but
I'm sure they've got one laying around.
I personally don't feel that a cognac cask would complement their spirit.
So we tried it, but it had been open for about 5 or 6 years. There was probably that much left in the bottle, and even Matt hadn't had it before, and he just went, "Oh, it's a bit flat compared to what he would have thought it would have been." But it was regarded as one. It's one of the most expensive bottles to try and find on the auction yards.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Apparently, it was amazing stuff. So, yeah, I don't have one. I don't think I've got one in the collection. No, I don't think it's probably one of the only ones I don't have.
You were saying that you had a question about the new make.
Yeah, so you were talking about the Canberra place that has like non-whiskey, like underage whiskies and stuff like that. Have you played around much with new makes and different brands and all that kind of stuff? Like, and I'm talking new make, not just like a been in the barrel for 6 months and stuff like that, but actual new make.
No, unfortunately, I haven't. The closest really that I've had was kind of like a moonshine type thing from Newcastle Distilling, but then even that really wasn't a proper new make as such. I really haven't come across any to buy. I have been curious about the Archie Rose. I know they've released a like a new make.
I had the 6 malts, I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yep.
And unfortunately, at the time, I think even Crafty from Craftworks had released his Eau de Vie, I think. But again, I didn't get a chance to try that one.
So I still can't figure it. So Bladnock, have it on their shop. They do that. That is a 63%. I have no idea if I'm even allowed to put this up on camera, but I've already done the event and I'll figure it out later on. I'll sort it out.
We won't tell anyone.
So Westwood actually sent me this last bottle of new make in Australia, and they sent it to me for my tasting event. I've still got a little bit in there. So flick me a message and I'll send you some down. But that's a 45%. And it's interesting what people are doing now, because Manly Spirits, I think, has just done a new release of whiskey.
Yep.
And they did it with the Whiskey Club, and they did that tasting event, and they actually had the new make in the sampling pack as well. But if you go to certain bars, when I was down in Melbourne in April, some bars were actually doing new make cocktails.
Okay.
So it's, I think, what we're going to start seeing. I think it's super important, because if we're drinking
definitely,
for 19 years or something like that, or even 5 years or whatever, where did it start from? Like, I'd love to try Starwood new make.
Yeah.
Well, that's
especially with something like Starwood. I mean, I mentioned earlier on in the video that I've always found that every Starwood release kind of has its similarities, but when it comes to their projects releases, there's always something different. But you can taste the base spirit of Starwood. You know you're drinking a Starwood when you're drinking a Starwood. Same thing as well. I've had when I've had something from Craftworks as well. You know you're drinking something from that distillery. Their spirit stands out so well. And like you mentioned before just now, Zach, to be able to try their new make, to be able to see, well, what is actually, how is it that it's influencing the cask, or how the cask is influencing the spirit, and all that kind of thing. It's a great thing to be able to explore.
Exactly. I think with a lot of people, they're scared of new make because they think it's like vodka, and they're completely two different things. I mean, vodka has been distilled fucking how many times, and all the flavors just been stripped, while a new make actually does have unique flavor to it.
I've got a question here from Edward for you, Zach, saying, does the blood not taste like baby spew?
So for all, this is a big thing, right? I've got a massive collection of Starwood of Blood Knock. Hang on a second. Is it which one's he talking about? Yeah, Blood Knock. I've got a collection of Blood Knock, and everyone's talking about like it smells like baby spew, or it's got that Parmesan cheese nose to it, and all this kind of stuff. And I've never ever had that in any of the releases, and I was like, okay, no idea what they're talking about. I then flew down to Melbourne, and I went to a bar, a specific bar, because they had the only bottle that we knew of this, which is just this fucking camera back and forth. It's a 28-year-old Blood Knock, and it's a North Star. Now, we've got one. There's only 97 bottles of these made, so I've got one partner bottle for me for my birthday, and I went down to Melbourne at Boilermaker House. They had the last bit. They left it for me in there. It's the only time that I finally went, oh, hang on a second, this kind of smells like baby spew or Parmesan cheese. So yeah, no, it does. For me, no, I quite like the Blood Knock spirits. I think the older stuff, which I'm now buying a few bottles of, I think that's going to be interesting to see once we start opening the older bottles. But anything in the new range, I quite enjoy. There's one that I don't like in the new range, but everything else is pretty good. But no baby spew.
For Blood Knock, I've only had the first one that I tried was the Samsara and the 10-year-old. And when I first tried the Samsara, I was at a bottle store, and the guy there was asking whether I would like to try it or not. And yeah, sure, why not? If you're offering a sample, it's something that I've never tried before. Yeah, go for it. But he opened up the bottle, and I was standing maybe about 5 meters away from the table. And as soon as he opened the cork, as soon as he popped the cork on it, I could smell it. And I'm thinking, what the hell is this crap that he's pouring? It was horrendous. Like, to me, it smelled like burnt rubber.
Right.
That was one of the things that I was getting. And I found that interesting when the guy, when Edward mentioned the baby spew thing, to have that type of like pungent aroma. That's what I had gotten from originally. But then when I tried it, I'm like, man, this shit's pretty good.
Yeah, Samsara is the gateway drug, I think, into Blood Knock. I think that's where most people have started and what they've absolutely loved. But yeah, it is a common comment from people about baby spew. So obviously, it's a lot of people get it. I just don't get most of it.
Yeah. It's always interesting to find what notes a lot of people typically get from a certain thing. Like you say, like the Blood Knock, people get baby spew. With a lot of like heavily Isla peated whiskeys, for example. Like a lot of people tend to get things like like barbecue and like blue cheese and things like that. And I personally have
Band-Aid.
never gotten those types of notes from them before. I'm thinking, for me at least, when I tried, I'm thinking, where are you getting these notes from? I just don't. But then at the same time, I am not familiar with blue cheese. I'm not somebody that generally eats blue cheese, so it's not something that I'm familiar with. But like you have a lot of people that go, oh yeah, get like blue cheese or you get like barbecued meat, something. Oh, okay. Yeah, I get the smokiness, but I don't get like those notes that they're pulling.
So I'm the same as you. I struggle to get certain notes in it when everyone else is like, oh, this is fairy floss and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, really? I'm like, I'm just getting alcohol.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you've seen this. It's got 54 different nosing pieces in this.
Okay.
So things like apricot and rubber and all of those kind of like normal tasting notes you should be able to find in whiskies. This little thing here and the book, this massive book, actually helps you, discover all of that. So number 3 is honey. So you should be able to pick up the honeys. Number 4 is mandarin. Now I don't eat mandarin, so I really don't know what that smells like.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at least that will give you a rough guide.
Yeah. Yep. So this has only just arrived like last week. I haven't even really opened them up or anything like that. But that's going to be the new project on my channel. Is doing this over a month's period.
I've seen like tasting sets, or not so much like tasting, but like nosing sets before.
Flavor wheels.
But that actually looks pretty damn impressive.
It's about $700.
I guess that's why. I hope it works.
Well, we'll see. We will see.
Yeah, but yeah, man, one for you. I mean, it's a great experience for you, and again, something to put across on your channel as well. It's a great thing.
But even in your own personal life, I mean, I think, like, for example, the next time you're down at the beach, just sit for a few minutes and just take in all the sea air and all that. So the next time you have an Isla, if you've got like a bowl with fruits in it, just pick up some of these fruits and just really smell some, take your time. And that's what I do, and that's how I develop.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, a lot of other people say as well. I mean, whiskey is all about the experience, and I guess what you experience throughout your life. And when it comes to like picking notes and things like that, it's your memory, like your memory and scent is so closely related to each other that most of the times, like when you pick up a scent of something, you can easily relate it to a memory. And if you don't have a memory of that scent, well, how are you meant to know what it's meant to be?
That's it.
Yeah. That's precisely,
Hey, I'm going to jump off because I've got a bit of work left to do. I'm still in my work year, so I will catch you guys later on.
Yep. Well, I was just about to say as well, I think it's getting to that point as well where I think I'm going to have to start logging off as well. So I think this might be the right time to do it. Mate, I guess one for everybody that's come into the like to watch the video initially as well, especially to see the Octave review. Thank you for joining in. I really do appreciate seeing all the new faces. Vin, who previously from No Nonsense Whiskey came in before as well. Thank you. Simon and Zach, mate, this is the first time that we've actually been able to have a chat with each other. That's one thing that I love about the whole live stream experience, is being able to chat and experience like whiskey with new people. So guys, I really do appreciate that you guys have taken the time out to join me on the chat and just to shoot the shit with me and enjoy some whiskey and keep the chat going for probably about an hour and 30 minutes longer than what I originally expected. So I mean, it's gone by like that. It's been a great time. So thank you for joining me in.
But yeah, cheers. I mean, thank you for having us. And if both of you see us on Scotch Down Under, just feel free to join as well. I mean,
Oh, I definitely will.
everyone's
no
always welcome.
Actually,
thank you.
Simon, I hope don't mean to hold you much longer, Zach, but I was going to ask Simon, do you have a channel at all, or do you kind of just like feature on?
Yeah, at the moment, I just go feature on Scotch Down Under, but I am thinking about actually starting my own channel.
All right, awesome. That will be great to see what you come out with. But Zach, obviously you have a channel, so I will link your channel in the description and all that kind of thing. But for those that are watching now, if you just want to give a bit of info about where people can find you and like what you do, please, mate, go for it.
Yeah. So, hey, Ghost. This is my co-star, Ghost. She obviously wants to go outside. Yeah. So, Mr. Whisk Z on YouTube and also Instagram. I kind of just do shitty YouTube whiskey reviews. Generally, try and keep it pretty basic about basic whiskeys and stuff like that. I try not to do too high end stuff. Because obviously, I'm doing it of how I started my whiskey journey. And then, we do some special stuff every so often. But the channel is not about $700 bottles of whiskeys that you're probably not going to drink. It's about stuff you're probably standing at Dan Murphy's and going through your phone trying to find out if you should be drinking or not. So, and I try and make it as pretty simple as possible as well when I'm explaining things.
Yep. Hey, well, it worked for me today when I got that bottle of Dew Guide. I literally watched yours today.
There we go.
One thing as well I've generally enjoyed. I love how I've always enjoyed how approachable your channel is as well. Like you said, you say what you have to say. Kind of get to the point where I know for me, I just ramble on like crazy. But again, I guess you're very easy to watch as well. So again, another and a fellow Aussie whiskey tuber. So anybody watching this, make sure you go and follow Zach from Mr. Whiskey, and maybe sometime in the future we'll see Simon doing something as well. So yeah,
mate, thanks for your time.
No worries, guys. Again, thank you for joining me. I only have an empty glass at the moment, but it will do.
Yeah, it will do.
Cheers for joining me, and that's it, man. As always, I'll see you all again on the next video. Get this.